Sporadic shelling and gunfire have erupted across 12 locations along the Thai-Cambodian border. The clash began near the disputed Tamontom temple complex, where Thai officials claimed to have detected a Cambodian surveillance drone followed by Cambodian troops advancing to set up logistics positions. According to Thailand, after issuing verbal warnings, their forces came under fire, which set off a wider confrontation along the frontier. Cambodian rockets and artillery then struck Thailand's Surin and Sisaket provinces, reportedly hitting civilian homes, a gas station, a hospital, and public roads. In response, the Royal Thai Air Force launched airstrikes with F-16 fighter jets, targeting what they said were 2 Cambodian military positions responsible for the attacks. Thai officials insisted the strikes were precise and proportionate, but Cambodia rejected that claim, accusing Thailand of bombing a public road near a Buddhist shrine and endangering civilians. So far, over a dozen people have been killed and tens of thousands displaced, while the acting Thai Prime Minister has warned that the border fighting could develop into war. For years, poorly demarcated borders and nationalist claims have kept tensions simmering between Thailand and Cambodia. But this latest round of fighting is the worst in over a decade, pushing both nations into a new and more dangerous phase of the conflict. The periphery holds its breath, knowing that no line on a map stays silent forever. Making this more complicated is the belief inside Thailand that this border clash is part of a deeper power struggle. Prime Minister Paetongtarn comes from the Shinawatra family, which has long opposed the military royalist elite, and many suspect the crisis is being used as a pretext to remove her from office. This is not as far-fetched as it sounds. Thailand has had 13 successful military coups since 1932, plus at least 9 failed attempts, making it one of the most coup-prone countries in the world. Power struggles between elected leaders and the military are almost a stereotype. Paetongtarn has been suspended from office, but she can still make a comeback, which may explain why Thailand isn't keen to de-escalate just yet. I use ground news to connect the dots because it allows me to check out local and regional sources. I truly believe that is the best way to understand this tricky region. I can't stress enough how important this is, which is why I asked Ground News to sponsor this video. I mainly browse the blind spot page where they share lots of interesting stories that other news outlets often miss due to biased reporting. Go to ground.news/Caspian or download the mobile app and enter promo code Caspian to save 40% off the Vantage plan. Also, by subscribing, you're directly supporting my channel. Thank you, Ground News. The link is below. Thailand and Cambodia have disputed their border for well over a century. At its core are strategic heights and ancient temples claimed by both sides. Key contested areas include Tamontom, Takwai, Chongchom, Chonganma, and Chongbok. But the prime disputed area is the Preah Vihear Temple, a Hindu complex built during the height of the Khmer Empire. Renowned for its vast power and reach, the Khmer Empire left a legacy that continues to shape the region's identity to this day. Both Cambodia and Thailand consider themselves the rightful heirs, making the temple a point of national pride and ongoing contention. The modern dispute, however, traces back to the colonial era when France controlled Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, collectively known as French Indochina. Thailand, on the other hand, was never colonized. It remained the only country in Southeast Asia to preserve its independence. So, as France and Thailand came together to demarcate their boundaries, they encountered some complications. Unlike the open deserts of the Middle East, Southeast Asia's dense jungles made it difficult to draw clean lines across the map. As a result, in 1904, French and Thai diplomats agreed to use the watershed principle to define their border. which placed the Preah Vihear temple on Thailand's side. For the French, these details seemed trivial. It was just another piece of real estate. But for French Cambodia, it was a slap in the face. So, a few years later, after heavy lobbying from the Cambodians, France unilaterally adjusted the border and issued a new map in 1908. This time, the Preah Vihear temple was placed firmly within Cambodian territory. Thailand objected informally, viewing the alteration as a gross violation of the original agreement. However, its leadership got caught up in other, more pressing geopolitical developments and thus never initiated a legal complaint. Fast forward to 1946. World War II had just ended and French power projection was severely weakened. Sensing an opportunity to retake their country, the Vietnamese launched a war for independence. The conflict was brutal and exhausting, dragging on for 7 long years. Then, in 1954, at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, French forces suffered a decisive defeat. The following year, France agreed to withdraw all its troops from Southeast Asia. Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia celebrated as they emerged as independent states. Thailand, meanwhile, saw an opportunity of its own and moved troops into the disputed areas along the Cambodian border. After regaining its bearings, Cambodia brought the case to the newly established International Court of Justice in 1959. The International Court was a novel institution at the time, created to make conflict resolution more transparent, efficient, and accessible. Both Thailand and Cambodia agreed that it was more cost-effective than war. In 1962, after years of back-and-forth hearings, the International Court finally made a decision. The temple belonged to Cambodia. The single most important factor in this decision was that Thailand had failed to challenge the French map in time. Too much time had passed, and Thailand's claim was considered irrelevant. However, while the International Court awarded the temple to Cambodia, it made no ruling on the land surrounding the complex. And this is a classic example of how legal decisions don't always settle real-world disputes. Here's the thing. The mountain range where the temple sits forms a natural border between Thailand and Cambodia, but the temple itself is perched atop a cliff. The only way to access it is through Thailand's side. So by resolving one dispute, the ruling inadvertently sparked another. Altogether, the feud over the Preah Vihear temple is just one flashpoint along a much larger and contested border. In total, there are 6 major disputed areas between Thailand and Cambodia, many stemming from the same colonial-era maps and ambiguous boundary agreements. Of the 6 disputed areas, 3 involve ancient temples similar to Preah Vihear, while the other 3 center around strategic heights, which are valuable for both military and territorial control. As a result of these disputes, tensions between Cambodia and Thailand have periodically flared, most recently between 2008 and 2011 when clashes broke out near the contested sites. It's a pattern that continues to this day, because unresolved borders don't fade, they fester. Thailand and Cambodia are at another chapter of confrontation. This time, tensions began at the Tamon Tom temple complex, which is different from Preah Vihear in location but identical in its disputed nature. The temple is firmly controlled by Thailand, but in February, Cambodia moved its troops forward near the site, prompting Thai forces to respond in kind. With the 2 armies staring each other down, the air grew thick. Then, on May 28th, tensions snapped. An exchange of gunfire broke out, resulting in the death of 1 Cambodian soldier. Shortly after, Cambodia leaked an audio clip of a call with the Thai Prime Minister. It was a clear move to destabilize the Thai government, and it worked. In the audio excerpt, Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn referred to her Cambodian counterpart as uncle and criticized a Thai general as pretentious. She also urged Cambodian leaders not to trust Thailand's military command to keep the peace. It was an embarrassing leak. Not surprisingly, it triggered a political crisis in Thailand. Mass protests erupted across the country, demanding the Prime Minister's resignation. At the same time, a key political ally pulled out of the coalition government. And since July 1st, Prime Minister Paetongtarn has been suspended by the Constitutional Court over ethics concerns. So, why is Cambodia stoking tensions in Thailand? Well, for internal political reasons. You see, Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet took office in 2023. His father, Hun Sen, served as Cambodia's Prime Minister from 1985 to 2023 and currently holds the positions of President of the ruling Cambodian People's Party and Senate President, a fancy way of saying that he is the chief power broker in the country. Younger Hun, now Prime Minister, is a former general and West Point graduate with strong ties to the Cambodian military. But his grip on power remains incomplete. He still faces powerful families and rivals who dominate other corners of the state. So, by stirring up tensions with Thailand, Hun Manet and senior Hun Sen are likely aiming to boost the younger Hun's credibility and legitimacy by tapping into Cambodian nationalism. A key part of that sentiment is reclaiming lost territory, especially areas with ancient Khmer temples and ethnic Khmer populations. And this isn't the first time they've played that card. In line with that nationalist policy, in September 2024, Prime Minister Hun withdrew his country from the Cambodia-Laos-Vietnam Development Triangle Agreement, which was established to boost trade and development in border areas. Hun's decision to leave the pact was a symbolic move to ease public anger over claims that his government had given up land to Vietnam. For context, Cambodian nationalists also resent the loss of the Mekong Delta to Vietnam, which they refer to as Lower Cambodia. And so, by escalating tensions at the Thai border, Cambodia's new leadership is making a calculated gamble to rally domestic support and thereby consolidate political power. For now though, localized, low-intensity skirmishes are likely to continue along the border, but a full-scale war is unlikely. Cambodia currently lacks the conventional military capability to dislodge the entrenched Thai forces from the disputed areas. Meanwhile, Thailand has little incentive to escalate. It already, directly and indirectly, controls all the disputed sites. Additionally, both countries will want to minimize disrupting tourism, which accounts for around 12% of Thailand's GDP and 9% of Cambodia's. So, the odds of a full-scale war are low. ASEAN could step in and mediate between the two, but China holds far greater leverage, particularly over Cambodia, which depends heavily on Chinese political, military, and financial support. Beijing leads in foreign direct investment, holds military access to the Ream naval base, and wields influence over major infrastructure projects, most notably the Funan-Techo Canal. This last one is a flagship project poised to reshape the region's strategic landscape. We did a separate episode on this. It's worth checking out. The link for it is in the description box. Should the conflict begin to threaten regional stability or Chinese strategic investments, Beijing could use its levers to pressure Phnom Penh to avoid deeper escalation. However, de-escalation will have to be reciprocal, informal, and without written commitments. Both nations are facing complications in their own way. Thailand is in a political crisis with its prime minister suspended and mass protests shaking the government. Meanwhile, Cambodia is in the midst of consolidating political power under its new leadership. The last thing either side wants is to appear weak on sovereignty. Therefore, easing tensions will require a quiet, two-sided approach, kept deliberately off the books. If left unchecked though, a single major incident could be enough to tip the crisis into full-scale war. Developments on the ground often spiral faster than political leaders can respond, because every forgotten border waits patiently for its matchstick. I've been your host Shirvan from Caspian Report. If you approve of what we do, please leave a comment, hit the like button, and mayhaps share the video. In any case, thank you for your time, and Sawal.